Also this morning, a big change in Maryland gun laws that will make it easier to get a handgun in the state. A federal appeals court overturned parts of Maryland's handgun law, calling it unconstitutional. Matt Gregory joins us now in studio. And Matt, this all has to do with an earlier Supreme Court ruling.
Wisdom, when the Supreme Court struck down a New York gun law last year, it actually opened the door for legal challenges in other states' gun laws across the country. So this week, Maryland's handgun restrictions followed suit as a federal court struck it down. Starting today, Maryland can no longer require a person to get fingerprinted, training, and wait up to 30 days to purchase a handgun.
I always thought it was a little bit unfair to require law-abiding citizens to spend hundreds of dollars to exercise the Second Amendment right.
Maryland's lone Republican Congressman Andy Harris celebrated the repeal of Maryland's handgun law. The state of Maryland already required a background check and waiting period to buy a gun, but in 2013, state lawmakers added handgun restrictions, like requiring a license and a longer waiting period to buy a handgun. Well, this week, a federal appeals court struck down that section of the law.
I'd actually be surprised if this was even appealed, because it's so obvious in the light of recent Supreme Court rulings that this law is simply unconstitutional.
Last year, the High Court struck down a restrictive New York gun law and ruled that firearms laws were unconstitutional unless they resembled rules in place around the time the Second Amendment was ratified. Since then, gun rights advocates have challenged state gun laws across the country. Maryland's restrictions became the latest takedown. Maryland Senator Democrat Chris Van Hollen had this to say about it, quote, "This will make Marylanders less safe. The Supreme Court needs to reconsider its ridiculous rule, overturn this decision, and end this dangerous trend." Meanwhile, Maryland's Governor Wes Moore released a statement saying an appeal wasn't off the table. Now, this does not affect Maryland's overall gun laws. There's still a background check and a waiting period, but the restrictive handgun requirements as of now are out. And the only way this does not go into effect is if the state's attorney general issued a stay, basically requesting a pause on the ruling until Maryland can get an appeal. Wisdom.
All right, Matt Gregory, thank you very much for that report.